Hello and welcome back. In this video, we are going to take a look at the second case from this year's Excel Esports Brazil competition called The Year Has Now Begun. In Brazil, they have the urban legend, which for some is reality, saying that the year only begins after Carnival. Well, Carnival is over now. 2026 has officially begun. So this case really centers around the celebration of Carnival in Brazil, one of the biggest celebrations in Brazil, if not in Brazil, then around the world. In this case, we are going to take a look at a giant stadium. I'm not going to zoom out just to save my resources, but let's see, we're looking at what, 130 rows and probably about the same amount of columns. But then down here, there is what's a kids section. And we have another tab here for the kids section that talks about the details, breaks that down. We have the seats, we have different schools and their colors, we have the number of children in those areas. So there's quite a lot going on here. So if you've tried this case out, I'm going to walk through it. You can follow along with me to see how I would solve it or how I tried to solve it live. If you haven't, then you can either take a look, watch this video, or check out the description where you can find a link to purchase and download that case and give it a try. But either way, this was a 30-minute case, so let's see if I can solve it within that time frame. Follow along with me as we find out. Here we go. All right, so we go down to level 1, referring only to the left side of the kids track. How many children are enjoying Carnival in a certain row? So we're talking about this map over here. I'm going to create a copy of it so that I still have an original, but I can modify this one to my liking. Ooh, a giant merge cell. Let's unmerge that. And what I want to do here is I want to do by row. Holy cow, that's a giant font. I don't know why the font is so big. What's the font here? The font is 20. Let's go ahead and make this 20. There we go. So now I have the number of kids in each row. So what I'm going to do is I am going to index that range based on the row numbers given there. All right, level 2. At Carnival, it is not only children who go out to play, families are also involved. For each child, there is an average number of relatives, parents, uncles, grandparents, etc., who also get involved in the party. Referring only to the right side of the kids track, what is the maximum number of family members involved among the 5 levels of grandstands? So in example 2, the row 7, the maximum number of children present is 9. We can see that 9 there. For this level, we have 4 relatives each. So 9 times 4 gets us the answer of 36. So what I'm going to do on the right side is I'm going to do another by row. Wow, another giant font. This time I'm going to do max for the function for this by row. And so what we need to do there is we are going to index that range now based on these row numbers here, and then multiply it by the number of relatives per child there. And that will get us the answer to all these questions. Let's go on to level 3. For level 3, we need to find out the number of children in the requested location. Location is the text made by the row along with the grandstand level. In example 3, location 23 E2 is requested. Here 23 is the row and E2 means the second level on the left side. All right, so we have this kind of grid system with E's and numbers there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just lay these both out, I guess. So what is it? It goes row number first and then the column number. So we will do row and then the column. That's going to lay out like that. So we are going to call that, and then we are going to call the cells that are inside. So that'll give us a nice little lookup table for that side. Below it, I'm going to do the same. So call, let's see, row number and column number for the right side. Only one parentheses, not 2. That did not want to work because I used multiply. What did I use multiply? That should be and. There we go. And then just like I did with the other one, I'm going to call the seats inside. There we go. So now we have a reference and all the corresponding seats. So now I can basically XLOOKUP these locations in this giant long table and return the corresponding answer in that giant long list right there. Excellent. Level 4, it's time for the abadas. Forgive me for that pronunciation. For level 4, we will have to check the number of children and their Samba schools. How many children from the mentioned Samba school are present in the requested row? Consider both sides as if the left side and right side were a single longer row. For this level, the matrix of subtitles by abada color is provided in the kids worksheet. All right, so let me go back over here. And those schools are what's going to represent there. So they are given the name. So actually, you know what? I can continue this list. let me move this list up here. And let's do school code. Code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to V-stack the two sides on here. And then to call the right side as well. So that should give me the code for, that's not the same amount of, oh, you know what? I saw why. Yeah, these didn't get over as well. So let's put these down below. Is that going to remove my previous answers? Yep. All right, we'll fix these right now. So XLOOKUP this in this column, return that column. Did that fix the level 3? Yes, it did. Okay, now let's work on level 4 again. So there we have the code. School is going to be XLOOKUP the code in this table, return this table right there. Good. So this is address, this is count. Excellent. So let's, all right, so then we need, for example, row 1 in the school Y10. So we are going to sum ifs this count where, oh, we need the row number. So, you know what? Let's do something here. Let's do row column. Right. For the row, we're going to regex extract these numbers here. Actually, no, text before these numbers here. The delimiter is going to be regex extract. The same pattern looking for D or E. And then multiply that by 1. That should give us all the row numbers. Yes, it does. And then for the rest, ooh, watch this. Substitute this, taking the row number, replacing it with nothing. Aha, there we go. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Now, let's try this again. So we are going to sum ifs this count, where this row equals this row here, and the Samba School matches the Samba School there. Now we're gonna have to do some locking here. So lock, that's fine, lock, that's fine. I get a value error. Oh boy. Is it this one? Let's see. Did I multiply by 1 for that row number? Yes, I did. So we want row 1 Samba School Y10. Why did that not work? So I should be getting like this one and some others. Okay. Is it this one? You know what? Let's do something. Let's do VStack to call this side and to call that. Oh, you know what? I know what it was. Because I used that hash marker, and because I didn't have the two numbers stacked, they were in different arrays. So the hash didn't count all of them. Now it's counting all of them because it's all in one single array, which is what I intended. All right, level 5. For level 5, we want to find out the total collected in a given area based on the amount charged for the ticket. To do this, identify the requested area of the adult spreadsheet and add only the tickets whose value is equal to the requested value. All right, so here we have an example of a certain area within the adults worksheet. In fact, if I go ahead and do an indirect adults, and from this range to that range, this is what that is going to look like, and it's going to look pretty much the same as this. I mean, yeah, those aren't the right size, but you know what? The numbers inside are the same. So now I'm going to do that equals is over there, 500 there. So I'm going to get a bunch of trues and falses. And for those that are true, I'm going to multiply it by, once again, that number. And then we are going to sum those together. Oops. And that's how you solve this one. Level 6, medium hard. For level 6, we have to cross-reference ticket sales information by the Cambistas. The logic in charging the tickets refers to the name of each Cambista. For each vowel of its name, 50 reals is charged, and for each consonant in the name, 100 reals is charged. The name and areas of influence of each Cambista can be consulted on the Cambista spreadsheet. Our challenge is to find out for each area of influence how much that scalper failed to earn. That is, the total value of the tickets in the area that were not sold by him. Note, all the areas mentioned belong to a single cambista, and there are no areas of intersections between cambistas. So basically, if we go to this cambistas worksheet, you see we have these ranges, and each are managed by a different cambista. I'm going to go ahead and copy this sheet. I'm going to call my copy C, so I know that is mine. And these are all merge cells, which, except for that area there, which does not work so well when you're trying to use formulas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unmerge it, and then within the same highlight, I'm going to do Control R, Control down. So what that does is that fills that entire row with the word Madriguina. Again, I apologize for my bad pronunciation. I'm going to do this for all of them, and except for the kids, because kids is not a cambista, that is the kids section on the map. Now, after you do this, everything looks great, except you notice there's this kind of blank-ish section over here to this side. And that blankish section is because Panda also includes that, but because the way merge cells work in Excel, you don't see Panda in that section. So what I'm going to do is I am going to fill this section manually with the word Panda. So now that is included in there. So now all of this, which matches all of this, now has a corresponding cambista name. Now the cambista name, we also need to consider the prices for each cambista. So what I am going to do is go back to the C sheet, and over here, let's go ahead and sort unique to call of all the cambista names on here. So that will give us all the cambistas names in a list. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. View, zoom 100%. Whoa, that's giant. All right, let's change the font size on you too. I don't know what's with these ginormous fonts. There we go. All right, now actually, let's take sort out, because I think what that'll do is I'll put kids on the bottom. Yes, it does, because I don't want kids. So I am going to drop the last two rows. The last row is a 0. The row before that is kids. Once again, kids is not a cambista, so we don't actually need to count that. But we need to figure out the price of each cambista, because in the case it said for the vowels of its name, 50 reals is charged. For the consonants, 100 reals is charged. Reals? I actually don't know. So we need to pull out the letters and figure out the charge for each letter. So to pull out the letters, I'm going to do car sequence of 26 letters starting at 65, which is the code for capital A. There we go. Up on the top, I'm going to put 100 because that's a charge for each of the consonants. Changing the vowels to 50. Just make sure I got that right. 50 vowels, 100 for consonants, yes. And then here I'm going to find out how much of each letter is within a name. So length of these minus the length of substitute from these letters, replacing it with blank. So there we get all the letters. We're going to multiply that by the prices at the top for each letter. Why did that get... Oh, because I need to put that within parentheses. There we go. So there's how much each letter costs. And then we can do a by row sum. I feel like I accidentally deleted something. I accidentally deleted a bracket. There we go. So that is the cost. So we can see that Madriguina is 850, which I believe is what the example says as well. Right. Okay, so here's what we are going to do. First, let's do what we just did in the last level, and let's get an indirect for that range coming out. So we are going to let range be indirect adults from D4 to... I'm not done yet, Excel. And there we go. See, Excel's often smarter than I am. All right, let's see what the range looks like. That's what the range looked like. That's what matches there on that. And then we're going to let cambistas. This is going to be indirect C, and then that same range there from D4 to E17. So let's see what C looks like. So that's the cambistas. We're going to do cambista value. It's going to be XLOOKUP the cambistas from this table that we just found there. I love it when Excel does this. From this table that we found there, and returning from this table that we found here. Okay, let's see what CV looks like. So that's what CV looks like. They all look exactly the same, which are exactly the same because it's all the same Cambista, right? So let's do range times range doesn't equal the Cambista value. Let's see what that looks like. There we go. So that's all the prices that were not sold by the Cambista. This is the same range that we get in there. We can sum that all together, and that'll get the prices of all the tickets that were not sold by the Cambista. There you go. There you go. Wow, that one's a 0, so I guess all of them must have been sold by the Cambista. I mean, it's not a very big range, so totally plausible. Level 7. The map is too colorful for us not to use colors, right? Hee. As it is the beginning of the season, I left only part of the colors for level 7. Oh no, the Samba Schools are plotting with the Cambistas. We will need to find out which tickets were sold by the Cambistas affiliated in the areas that are not theirs. After that, we must identify the Samba Schools referring to those divergent entries. Finally, we should discover the Samba School with the highest amount collected by the infiltrated Cambistas. What was the Samba School with the highest revenue coming from the infiltrated Cambistas? The answers must be found in the format name of school dash value. That's a lot, and it took me probably a few read-throughs to finally figure out what that means. But basically, we have 4 images that really help us out. So we're going to try to replicate these images. The first image here is the indirect of that entire range. So let me just pop this there, pop this over here. Actually, move it up. Yeah. So that way you can see a nicer, clearer breakdown. So actually, we could do this first too. This one's going to be the hardest one because the schools are not listed. There's a white cell in there. That'll be important for later. So what I want to do is, let me copy this into another sheet, and we're going to call this SS for Samba Schools. And you know what? I know there was a formula. Why is it? Oh, column and color. Info type color. Let's see what happens when I do that. Why did that color 0? Do these give me a color number? They do not. What is the reference? Is reference not just itself? DA4? Yep, that didn't work. Okay, I was worried about that, but you know what? That'll be fine. We'll work with it. So basically what we need to do is we need to replace all of the cells in whatever color by the corresponding school. So let's do, you know what? No, let's not do that. Actually, let's solve this right now first. So we're going to Control H to find and replace. We're going to choose a format from the cell. So find everything in the sheet, not replace all, find all in this sheet. We only found 1. Okay, let's try the format within the table. Find all. Okay, we found 2,389. Good. So we are going to replace all of that with the name listed there. Excellent. All right, so we're going to do this several more times. Let's go ahead and work through that. So let's find green, which is that one here. Find all. And once again, let's replace all of that with the Samba School listed up here. Now, what I'm doing when I'm entering is I'm holding Control and pressing Enter. And what that does is that will apply whatever formula to every single cell that I have highlighted. So basically, like for example, I'm highlighting magenta right there, find all. I'm doing Control A within this find all window down there. That's going to highlight every cell that I found that was in magenta. And then we are going to reference this school here. I'm going to F4 so that when I Control Enter, it's all going to reference that same exact cell. All right, I got 3 now. How many do I have to go? I have 4 more to go. Okay, let's pick an aqua one. There we go. Find all. Down here, Control A. Equals this Samba School represented there. All right, what's my next color? The only thing I don't like about this is you notice I'm scrolling a lot. Let's do that one. Whoops, find all. Highlight all. Equals. Find the school name there. F4, Control Enter. 2 more, right? Okay, next one is red, so we are going to find the red cells. Find all. Control A. Red cells are highlighted. We're going to equals this school here. And then finally, purple. format, choose format from cells, this cell here, find all, highlight all, equals this school listed there. All right, so now what we have done is we have changed all the cells into the names of the corresponding schools, which I know here we have the codes, but for us, schools will be easier to work with because the answer they want is the name of the school. All right, so let's break this down. First, let's get all of the adult ticket prices as we see in here, but without the colors, of course. So we're going to let A be indirect adults, and then from here, start going to, I've got my and sign, and there. So let's see what that looks. Close that. All right, so we get the numbers that we were expecting there. Good. Now let's get the Cambistas. So let's see. B, and you know what, I'm going to put this below because it's going to be pretty much the same. Indirect C, and from this cell to this cell. Let's see what C looks like. All right, so we are matching the cells that we have there. Now let's get the Samba Schools. Let's go ahead and keep this on the same line. Samba Schools is going to be indirect SS and this to this. See what Samba Schools looks like. So N is at the top, then PB, A, PB. Yep, that is matching. So now what we want to do is we want to find out, I believe it is the Cambistas value. So we're going to CV, I'm going to X look up C into back to this table here. Return that table there. Going to lock them both. Let's see what CV looks like. So those are the prices that they should be. And then so non-CV is going to be any cell where A does not equal CV. Let's see what NCV looks like. Actually, let's go ahead and put A times A minus NCV. So that turns it into numbers. That is matching the numbers up there to a certain extent. I'm getting slightly different numbers. So I'm getting a 650 here, but there's actually no 650 up there. Let me go back to A. Interesting. I don't think that this sheet would have been adjusted in any way. It starts at C3. This one, yep, they're the same. Let's see over here. Yep, everything is the same. Okay. That is concerning. Why am I not getting... I'm getting a slightly different number than they got there. Okay. Interesting. Well, let's keep working with it. Is that the only difference I have? So I have 450. And then I've got some down here as well. So wait, let me see. Flango. What's the value for Flango? Flango's value is 500. Okay. Let's keep going then. Let's keep going and see what happens, because I'm just slightly concerned. Why do I have different values here? So those should be fine because they're arrays, so they can't be. Yeah, I mean, everything looks alright to me. I'll probably find it later. Okay, so let's get the schools. Oh no, we have the schools out. Okay, so now what we are going to do is let's do a group by function. For the group by function, group by the row fields is going to be the school. And so to call SS. Whoa. Okay, the values are going to be to call NCV. And the function is going to be sum. We're going to sort largest to smallest by the school. And let's see what we get for our group by there. Okay, so we do have the right school here. We have Asuka. I'm not going to pronounce it. That with 1800, which is exactly what we want. So the output is going to be index GB 11, followed by the dash, and then followed by index GB 21. Not 2, 1, 1, 2. 1, 2. There we go. So that's matching the formula in there. Let's go ahead and paste that in and see if this lines up for all of the other ones. It appears that it does, which is really good. I don't know why this one didn't match what I had there, but you know what? It's fine. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the bonuses. Bonus number 1. How many children are there on the kids track? Well, I believe we could just do a sum of, let's do this one because I messed up the last one. All of these numbers here. That's why it's important to make copies of your sheets. Bonus 2. Which level of Grandstand on the kids track, E5, D1, E3, etc., has only even numbers of children? Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. Is even this range up there? Okay, value errors because it needs a plus in there. Let's add a plus in there. And we are going to do and. So and will mean it'll show true if all of them are even. Those are all false. And this one is true. So that's going to be D2. Bonus 3. What is the cell reference in the adult rank that does not have any EBITDA color? It has not had a ticket sold. Disregard the kids section. So I found this earlier by accident. There's a white cell right here and reference K35. So I'm going to do that. Another way you could do that is you can basically do a 2 call of all of this. So let me give this a try. So if I do a 2 call of this entire map like that, and what we should probably do is the 2 call of the addresses. So you know what, let's do it on the right side. Let me do it over here. So row, column, address, value. Let's go ahead and call this MP. Whoa. Go down here, we're going to call this MP. So row is going to be 2 call map MP row, 2 call map MP column. Address is going to be this and 4. I forgot to use the actual word address. That's what that would look like there. And the value is going to be 2 call of MP. Now, if I go ahead and do filters in here and I look for ones that have a value of 0, you'll see that this one really stands out, right? The ones in the kids section, that's fine because we didn't label them, but that one really stands out. So it's K35 for this bonus. Bonus 4. If there is a Cambista whose name was the name of all the Cambistas put together, what will be the value of the ticket charged by him? So that is the level 6 item that is over here in the C column. That is basically all of these values put together. And finally, bonus 5. Considering only the tickets whose values are correct according to the area of influence of the Cambista, what is the total revenue of the Carnival? Disregard the kids section. Right, so bonus 5 is basically what it's asking is we take a look at all of these prices. Do they match all of the prices that are supposed to be charged by the corresponding Cambista here? And then take the value of all of those numbers. So I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to call this bonus 5. So we're going to say bonus 5, and we are going to say equals the value on the adult sheet times this value equals X lookup the corresponding Cambista in this Cambista's table, returning this value over there. Let's lock those up. So if it does, it'll give me that same value, but if it doesn't, let me just put it down here and oops, copy, paste formulas. You see some of these turn to 0 because they don't match. So what I'm going to do is I am going to copy that, paste it down here with just the formulas there. Some of them are not matching. Now, I'm also going to have to add it down to this part because of this little cutout here that's not counted, but with the way that Excel highlights areas, then yeah. And then for this final question, we are going to sum that entire range there. 5,825,050 reals, and that is how you solve this case. Very fun case. It's always interesting to learn about, you know, I don't know much about Carnival, so it's always interesting to learn about a bit about Carnival. A few trip ups for me during the live solve was I didn't know what these numbers inside actually represented. It didn't list it anywhere explicitly there, but seeing how this level was solved with these images, that gave me a lot of help. So Klinsmann always does a great job of including these sample images to really visually show you what you are looking for in the data. And you notice throughout the solve, I use those quite a bit to compare with my formulas. So thank you very much, Klinsmann, for that case. If you have followed me to this part of the video, I want to say I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Give me a like and a subscribe if you enjoy this content. Keep a lookout on my channel. I'm going to try to upload cases from all of the local chapters this year, as well as all of the world competitions. So being subscribed to my channel, you'll be able to see that when it first comes out. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you for the next one.
It's the Excel